objective versus objective, the squads of 3 that you're introducing this year as well?
Well, that's right. I mean, here in this game, you see, 2 teams versus one versus 1v1, sort of, 2 team split. But with multi-team, there's also the opportunity to break it up in groups of 3 and really kind of return to small squad-based tactics. You'll see multi-team in TDM, Hardpoint, kill confirm, and it really adds sort of a new dimension to how you play the game.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the demo we're seeing here.
Sure. So before you even jump into the game, the one thing that you'll see is the new creator class, and this is based on sort of a new pick 10 system. Where once you had a slot-driven system where you had to pick a primary, had to pick a secondary. Now it's all allocation. Everything within multiplayer is worth a point, and you've got 10 points to spend, all right? And you combine that with these things called wild cards, which are the rule breakers. So when you mix all those things together, incidentally, wild cards are worth a point as well. So it's like, if you want to give up your secondary weapon and one of your lethal, you can actually get a wild card that lets you get a 3rd attachment for your primary. If you want to organize things so that you have loads of just perks and you jump into a game with just a knife, you can do that too. And what's great is that not only will you see more custom loadouts that you've never seen in a Call of Duty game before, but you'll be able to customize a loadout to your playstyle better than you've ever been able to, which is a lot of fun. And I think it kind of shows in the when you're playing. At least it has for me, because I get to play to my strengths. What do I have?
Well, I know sharing is a big part of the ethos with Black Ops 2, sharing. The fact that you're doing like podcasting and there is an esports element to it, will players be able to share their custom loadouts with other players?
Absolutely. When it comes to capturing game and sharing that content with others, what's great about when you talk about some of those features is that in the first Black Ops game, when we introduced theater, it became very easy to kind of capture your games and share them. And now we're making that even easier with a feature that we call highlight reels. So at the end of this game, if you've got it in your capture in your save as a save session, just hit a button and it literally pulls out all the highlights, makes the video for yourself. But there are a number of new social features that the team is rolling out that makes it easier to find them. So, call it like a series of community rating tools that allow fans to sort of organize and rate content, and it's all easier to find. So, it's easier to create, easier to sort through, easier to enjoy.
Hey John, obviously you talked about a lot of the changes you've got coming up in multiplayer.
I'm sorry, man. J-Lo is she's in here. She's in my head.
So you've talked quite a lot about the changes in multiplayer that are coming up here. And the first Black Ops was one of the most widely played competitive titles. Was there ever a temptation to not screw around with that winning formula? Why did you decide to try and change multiplayer so much for Black Ops 2?
Well, I think the answer to that question lies in the team changed it in ways that made the most sense for how people are playing. So I think you've got to be careful how you use the word change. They certainly evolved it, but I think that when you take a step back and look at how the package is being presented, literally, if you are brand new to multiplayer, there are a series of features in combat training that allow you to ease into the waters. But when you get to a professional end of the spectrum, there are things like league play that group you up with other very competitive guys like yourself, and then you combine that with podcasting, live streaming, even custom games where you have the opportunity to define the parameters of a game so that whether it's you and your buddies on a Saturday night or at a tournament, you are able to craft that experience the way you need to. So, it's not about changing it and leaving people to the wayside. It's about evolving it so that essentially the tent can be bigger.
So how much do you listen to, I guess, user feedback when deciding, in how to move the franchise forward?
Well, I can tell you that the guys at Treyarch are proud to say that we are brave enough to stick our ears against the glass of the internet and listen to what people have to say. And we've developed a thick enough skin to do it. We listen a great deal, and we we try to constantly perfect the art of listening, because other than just sort of like the "I hate you" kinds of tweets, which I've never seen any of those. You know, it's like if you learn to listen, people will tell you what they're really looking for. And
I was going to say, how do you filter that? Like, how do you know when someone is actually being constructive versus someone's just being a jerk to you?
well, I mean, come on, man, it's pretty easy to sort out. But you know, it's like there's sort of this group where it's like, you know what, I didn't like this, or I really did like this, or I would think about it this way. And like we kind of look in there and it begins, whether trends emerge or trends emerge that help you think about things in new ways. You know, the community really kind of, if you listen, they will tell you, and they tell us.
Now, just a reminder that we are taking live questions from the Twitch chat. There is a question here from Mr. Zeros, who wants to know, why did you choose Black Ops 2 to be in the future?
Great question. The team really kind of gravitated toward near future very soon after the first Black Ops ship, and the reason why was pretty much twofold. Treyarch been a team making World War II games for a while, and when they moved into the Cold War, it was a chance to sort of get some exposure to new technology, new weapons, and ultimately new gameplay. All right, and then also it's like, you know, the team had really kind of, you know, they had a lot of fun with sort of the Black Ops style of storytelling. There's the history that you know, and then the deniable operations that you did, that we exposed you to. And now it's like we've taken that and applied it in a time-spanning, generation-spanning way, you know? So now it's like you get near future, Cold War I technology, weapons, and gameplay, and a story that is more ambitious than any story we've attempted. And it's just like, ultimately it allows us to tell a more dynamic fiction with more dynamic characters, ultimately a net benefit of more gameplay and a chance to innovate with things like Strike Force levels. So yeah, it's that's why we went future.
I was just going to ask whether it's liberating working with a future timeline and the liberties you can take with the technology where it's heading. I know you've worked closely with some of the armor companies in terms of some of the future tech and what might be coming. Do you then ever say, well, we think this is where it's going, or this is something that's in prototype stage, but we'd like it if it had this, so we can just bolt that on the top?
Well, I hate to tell you this, but you're talking to the guy that I could talk about this for hours, and I'm sure Josh would tell you. So that was actually, it was very liberating, but very kind of scary at the same time, in the sense that, like, you know, you don't want to be laser beams and aliens. You've got to retain, you know, that Call of Duty feel. So, you know, the team takes great pride in becoming subject matter experts in whatever we do, and we approach near future technology the same way. And everything that you see in the game is in use, being prototyped, advanced prototype stages. Every now and then there's some creative liberties taken with things, but all based on this plausibility that, you know, if you apply Moore's law and add a little bit of entertainment value, it's not completely unreasonable to think that in 2025, you know, you can't have a millimeter wave scanner that sends a pulse out into the world and shows you guys behind smoke screens or light cover.
Is it a scary future, John?
No, man. It's all coming up roses.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about like the big push that you into esports that you're including with the game. Why did you decide to, I guess, embrace the esports community, and how important is it, do you think, to the longevity of the game?
You know, the esports crowd, this is a group that understands kind of how to push on the boundaries of things, and I think that just generally speaking, when you taking a step back from esports, when you put the tools in people's hands to more effectively play the way they want, I think that everyone benefits, you know? And I think that, you know, the esports community really kind of pushes on those boundaries. But then, you know, if you sort of look at the full spectrum, even when you give new players the opportunity to come in and maybe stay longer, feel more comfortable, ultimately you have guys that want to become that esports, get involved in that esports scene. So, I mean, it's really about making sure that we're giving absolutely everyone the tools that they need to succeed.
Like, as the biggest game in the world, like, do you feel that you guys can help grow the entire, I guess, esports field by making it so easy to be able to stream from in-game?
I don't know. I mean, that at some level that becomes one of those predictions that I hope so. I think that the team does too. I think it's really much more about making sure that we're providing a game that's as inclusive as we possibly can. I think that the team has done it here.
Another question from the chat. Gamertag WS wants to know, will there be a zombie mode like